Welcome to the Winter Project series, Part 3B. In other words, Part 2 of the pumping station rebuild. Just uploaded Part 1, or 3A, last night. And I left you in the middle of doing layout. Well, I just finished layout. This one here is where the screen material will go, and we'll be playing the video. And we put it up top, I don't know if you can see it, but it says, "It's watching." Over here, we've got this one, and this one, with Haunted, up above in the plywood sections are where the two tubs go. And over here, there's two tubs, or clamshells, that fit on that one. A lower one, which is bigger than the upper one. The lower ones don't have any foam on them, but the upper ones do. So I've got some carving to do on them, and they're laid out. Now I've got two more panels, and I just finished them up today. Got the shop cleaned up. These are the sides that go with the one with the hole in it that the projection goes on. And we did that. It says, Nob Hill Haunted Runoff, no swimming, toxic. So we'll have two signs, and it says the same thing on both panels. And bricks are laid out the same on both panels. Now, Nob Hill is the name of the main street I live off of here in my town. So it's kind of bringing some hometown goodness into things. And then the no swimming and toxic, which is kind of a comical thing. So, but anyway, we're going to get started on carving. And I'm going to, since I just got done laying this one out and it's still up on the table, we're going to do it first. And we'll go ahead. I've got to carve the grout line in, which will be deeper than the fascia. Then I've got to do the fascia a little bit. So the signs here will be on the surface of the foam, and the bricks will be inset a little bit, and we'll make the signs pop. Basically, here's the pattern that we're doing. This is the new water wall panels I carved for last year. And these are 1 foot panels. I didn't feel like bringing in a 2 foot panel. But I brought it in, one, so I can get measurements off the brick, so I can get the layout to match as close as I can. Also, I wanted to see what I did on colors. We have a basic gray over the whole panel. Then we use some fluorescent red, fluorescent green, and fluorescent orange for detail work. And then the grout lines were purple. For Morgan. Morgan wanted purple. So we got painting to do too. So for right now, on the panels, I've got the carving to do, then we've got light sanding to do, then we've got to heat treat them, and then we'll be into paint. Okay, I didn't show any of the carving process, or the layout, or did I? I don't remember whether I had or not. But I'm in the middle now of heat treating. So far I've got the two tubes done, or tubs done, the bottom and the side, and they both look pretty much the same except for the heat treating pattern. And there's a Kaylee, is a bit different. Then I've gotten this one heat treated. That's the front where the projection screen goes. And here's one of the tub walls done. And then in here I just got the other tub wall done. Looks just the same as the other one, except for the way the foam melted on the heat treating is a little different. I'll give you a look at the last two panels as I get to them. They're next on the list. Okay, I wanted to do a shout out to Susan Rowe. Earlier this morning I posted some pics I took yesterday of the carving process and stuff up on my Instagram, and I shared them on my Haunted Ted's Facebook page as well as my personal page and a couple of sites. And she found a mistake that I didn't even catch. The set dresser was actually out here too, and she didn't catch it at all either. But it was on this panel here. And I've got two signs on it. This one, Nob Hill Haunted Runoff. And then down here is where I made the mistake. No swimming toxic. Swimming is misspelled. S-W-I-M-I-N-G. There should be two M's in it. I totally screwed that up. I didn't even catch it. My thing, the reason why I missed it was due to the S. When I was laying that out, I used stencils for the lettering. And for some reason, I kept going dyslexic on the S and trying to do the S backwards. So when I was spelling that out, I was focusing really hard on the S, trying to make sure the S was facing the right way. And I totally ignored the fact that I needed two M's instead of one. Now, since that is carved in, and that is all one piece of foam, the only way I could fix it and get it to look the same, with the spelling problem corrected, is I would have to take the whole sheet of foam off, and that foam is Gorilla Glued on. So getting it off would be a huge mess. And then I'd have to recarve and redo the whole panel. The brick and both signs, everything. You know, and totally start over. I ain't gonna do it. Now, I like the idea that the sign is square. I could come through and just, you know, cut here and then cut here, and take swimming out, redo it on a new piece of foam, and then set it back in, you know, and do that. But then, by the time I add the other M, swimming is going to stick out probably to about there on that brick, and about the same over here. And I'd have an oblong or a weird shaped box instead of a square box. So I think for now, I'm just going to leave it as is and go from there. But anyway, Susan Rowe, thank you for catching. Well, work continues, other than my misspelling of swimming. Here we go. We got tubs mounted. So those are done. And I can take the tubs off, and that's ready for paint. All these are ready for paint. Now, how I attached the tubs. I just got done with this one. I didn't put the tubs back on. I wanted you to see what I did. I made a shelf with some 1x12, and I used a series of L brackets to hold that on into place. Now, I made the attaching the clamshells so they can be removable. When this thing's in storage, neither the clamshells or these brackets will be attached. They'll be stored separately. And when I go to put them on the wall panel with the clamshells off, I'll be able to come in here and mount an LED light here and down here, pointed up on the back, which will be painted white to reflect the light, and makes it look like the panels are glowing and the fluid's moving around in them. Just like on the old pumping station. I like that effect. A lot of people do. I get comments about it every so often. You know, what's that inside the thing? You know, what do you got moving around inside the plastic pieces and stuff? So I'm going to keep that. I am going to have to bore a hole here, probably, so I can run my wiring, because both tubs have lights, and then I need to be able to get them up into power as well. I'll do that from behind. Okay, now with the clamshells done, I've got 3 other things I need to do. Two more details I need to build yet. Or actually 3 more details I need to build yet for this project. And I can't do it with the pieces all separate. So I think what I'm going to do is the pieces I've got done, I'm going to put this together out in the backyard. and take a good look at it. I can get the pieces I need to make. I can get my measurements that way with the thing put together. But it will give me a chance to go over it and see if any of the panels need tweaking or adjusting or anything before we get into paint. And I will give you a shot of it set up in the backyard, if and when I get to that. I don't know how much energy I've got after walking Kaylee. Kay, it's past time to do her walk, so we're going to go out and do that. But anyway, I'm as far as I'm going to go. So, and we'll get you more here in a bit. I've been a busy little beaver today. I needed to test fit everything, and I figured the best way of doing it was to set it up. I even put Morgan's fountain on where it goes. And then here in the hole, we'll have a screen with a projector on the shelf back there with the eyes showing out. And then we went and put the tubs there. And me and Joanne were talking. We thought it'd be cute if there was it looked like there was water pumping from here into here and then going down into here. So I put a pipe there. There just wasn't enough room for flanges and stuff between that one and that one. But we did repeat the process over here. There's a pipe here too. So that's pretty much as far as we're going to go. I still need to make up 2 more of these fountains. One to go along the bottom here and then over on the other side. And the blue pipe sticking out, I'm going to try to replicate that, and we'll have 2 of them coming out in each bay. Still got to make those yet. I haven't gotten that far yet. But anyway, that's pretty much where we're at right now. I think I'm going to get Morgan's fountain done, the pipes, and the warning hazardous waste tubs down. And then since I've got this up out here, and it would just be a lot easier than trying to do it in my shop, I'm going to drag my air compressor hose out here, and we're going to get the primer coat on this. The 2 fountains I need to do below each of the clamshells, I will do later. It's another day, another dollar. Yesterday, while I had this beast set up out in the backyard, I went ahead and got my primer out, and I went and primer coated all of the pieces and let it air dry outside. A lot easier than trying to do it in here. And then I went through and got some pieces cut of 2-inch foam. Got 2 big pieces and a bunch of smaller pieces to replicate this. And it's roughly the same width, but it's a little bit longer. It's to go across the bottom of the walls there. And I figure I was going to hold off and do this after I had that painted, done, and out of the shop. But, oh hey, we got a Kaylee over there watching us, huh? Hello, KK. But I figured with getting the paint and stuff out, that's a whole nother mess. I figured I'd go ahead and finish getting this, all the parts and pieces done. I can just paint everything at the same time. This also needs to be cleaned up. I'm going to go through and give it a good sanding and what have you. It's getting nicked and dinged here and there. It needs to be cleaned up, freshened up. The first part of the build, though, before I start doing on this part, which would be on these sheets here, are these squares. These squares I've got to make into pipes. It's a series of 3 2-inch pieces of foam. So 3 of these from here up. And I got to cut the center out, and I got to cut the outside out so they look like pipes. And then we glue them together. Once they're all glued together, I can sand them down, shape them the way I want them shaped, and then we can lay out the bottom part, get that carved, and then they'll be ready for painting. Technically, it shouldn't take that long. Technically. And with me, it's probably going to take forever. Alright, we've been a little busy. I went and took those square pieces of foam and cut circles out of them. And I got them glued together over here. I made up an extra one just in case I screwed one up when I was cutting, and I didn't. But we got them all glued together. Now they got to sit overnight before I can do anything else with them. I need to get in here, and we're going to sand them down, get them to look a little bit better. But my next chore is going to be these over here. I got 2 blanks. These go on the wall underneath the clamshells. And I'm going to need to lay this pattern out on that. We are, like with this original one, I'm not going to heat treat the surface at all. We're just going to do the grout line. So it'll be a quick and simple carving on them. And then I do have to figure out where those pipes are going to sit on each section and carve out a circle so I can embed these into the foam. I'm going to have one there and one there. So I'm going to need to do that too during the layout process, and then we'll get the Dremel out, get them carved, and get them, start getting them assembled. Well, it's been about a week since I've been out here in the shop. I've been busy with other things. Where I got to before I got busy with other things is I've been working on the fountains. I'll start with this here. This was a sample piece I cut out, but this is how I ended up doing the pipe here on the original fountain. That's cut out some 2-inch foam, and I glued 3 of them together. And I've got them over there. There's 12 of these pieces glued up into 4 different sections. Still need to be taken apart and cleaned and sanded. Now you'll notice, like on this one here, it's out a little bit further than that piece there. That's because of this lip here on this pipe. I'm debating, I'm going to do a design change. I think I'm going to do away with this lip. So I'll end up just sanding this lip off. And then we got to sand them and round them up a little bit. I got to clean up the insides of them yet. They'll sit there until I'm ready for them. But over here, I did get started. I got the layout done on both pieces. And this circle here is where the fountain sits. I'm going to carve this in about, a 1/4 of an inch or so. And the pipe will actually fit down in there and I'll glue it in. But I got the second one. Get that one out of the way. I got it carved. I need to go through and sand it. But I got to thinking, I'm going to get this one totally out of the way. We'll put it over here. On the original fountain, I went and did some graffiti on it, kind of. Wolfie drank here. Frankie ate here. Drac was here for a good time call, 966 Howl, and then they all died here. You know, I only did a couple, and I did those because at the time I couldn't think of any graffiti type stuff that would, be fitting. But I wanted something horror based or monster based. Well, I got to thinking, for these new panels, I want to do something similar. So they all drive, so they have something on them. So I went and took some time, did a little bit of research here and there, and I came up with 2 lists of monsters. Japanese monsters and American monsters. Like on the American, I got Dracula, Mummy, Werewolf, The Thing, Jaws, what have you. And I was thinking I could probably scatter them across the board. I've got about 20 different names altogether between the American and Japanese monsters. In Japanese, I've got Godzilla, Mothra, Kong, Gigantus, Rodan, Monster Zero. you know. So I figure on one panel, I do American monsters. And on the other one, I do the Japanese, and I'll just carve their names into the bricks, you know, just scattered across, 3 or 4 across each panel. You know, I'm not going to do all, 10 on each panel. Or I might, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. But anyway, I'm going to carve the names in. And for right now, I think I'm going to, instead of working on those, since I'm set up for doing these, I'm just going to work on these. I got to get the names carved into this one. Get this one sanded, and this one here, I don't even have the grout lines cut yet. So I need to get the grout lines cut and get the names on them, and just kind of go from there and see where we get to. And I'm probably going to do them at the same depth as I did the grout lines. So, I don't know. At least that's my thinking. Like, that's kind of where we're at now. And then once I get these fountains put together and sanded and what have you, we'll get the paint out and start doing the painting process. Okay, it's been a day or two. Actually, it's been about a day. We got out here, we got our pipes sanded, and we got them glued on, and you can see the slop here on the outside and on the inside, left over from the Gorilla Glue I used. Both panels are the same way. So my next step is I gotta get a razor blade out here, and we're gonna get in there and get all that slop cleaned out of it, and then I got primer coat them, and then these will be ready for paint. And I think, I'm not too sure how long this log is gonna be. I'm thinking it's shorter than the first part of the build. So I think I'm gonna call this one quits, and we're gonna do the painting in the third set. I'm not counting doing the primer coat as painting. So, wait for part 3. Stay spooky. Stay toxic.